Hey guys, this is the Swamp Cleaner, back with another video for you. I know I touched on this subject in my previous video, but I want to give you a little bit more about it, because I feel like I still need to talk about it. And forgive me if I'm looking down, because I've actually scripted this video out. Usually I, say things on the fly, have rough out notes, and I just, you know, pull it off the top of my head. But this time, I need to script it a little bit because I wanted to get these points really clear for you. Let me just start for you here. If you're a victim of an assault, the trauma will burn images into your brain. Do you know how I know that? Because I'm a victim too. I've been a victim of parental abuse. Now I know it's not the same as sexual misconduct or something like that, but I think it's pertinent for my argument here. I'm just trying to center myself. Me and my sister, or I should say my sister and I, since as young as I can remember, up until I was 12, was abused by my biological mother, mentally and physically. She was very, very good at tearing you down mentally. She would constantly rail on us and say that we were horrible kids, that she didn't want to have us, and she regretted making the decision to have children. She told us on many occasions that we were dead to her, which, if this is something that you've been experiencing, anybody who's watching this, you can, you know how it erodes your 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 own personal self-worth. It erodes who you are as a person on the inside. But it wasn't just mental abuse, it was also physical. She would she'd snap at the smallest things. She would slap you. She'd hit you. She'd throw things at you. I once got a slight concussion because she threw a telephone receiver at my head and hit me right in the temple. She did the same thing to my father. She threw a TV remote at him and caused him to bleed from the forehead. It was it was tough times. But the worst incident that occurred, which was the final straw, was in October of 2002 on a school night. She tried to strangle my sister to death for the simple fact that she didn't eat her yogurt at school. I was going to bed at the time, and all of a sudden I started hearing shouting downstairs. I could hear my mother saying this is part of a balanced diet, so yada yada yada. My sister was like, "Well, I understand that, but I just don't like to eat yogurt. I mean, can I have something else?" But no, that wasn't good enough for her. So she flipped out and she tried to strangle my sister to death on the steps. My father was in the other room at the time, and my father was a very busy man. He was a businessman. He went away for work a lot, and every time he did leave, me and my sister were scared to death because we were left alone with her. But he ran in from the other room, threw her off of my sister, slammed her against the wall, and said, "Don't you ever touch my child ever again." Shortly after that, my father filed for divorce and filed for full custody of me and my sister. The reason why he couldn't have done it sooner is because at the time we're living in Canada. And I mean this happens in any Western civilized country. The court system is so tilted towards the mother that my father was, even with all the evidence, because he was actually compiling all the evidence of the physical abuse and the mental abuse that my mother was dishing out to me and my sister and him. But he was worried that even with all that evidence, that the courts would still side with her and give her custody of us based on the fact that she's the mother, that she's the better caregiver, when he actually was the breadwinner. He made the money. He made the money so that we could live in the house that we lived in. Anyway, that's just a little caveat. That's just to show you where I'm coming from. But let me get into this. Let me get into the meat of this. If you accuse somebody and you are genuine about it, you'd have your story straight and all your evidence ready to go. And you definitely wouldn't wait 36 years to come forward about it. And now I know people are going to say, well, what about Bill Cosby? What about Bill Cosby? Well, that's a false equivalence. Let me tell you why. Kavanaugh, at the time of this alleged incident, was a child. He was 17. He was a kid in high school. He was a nobody. Okay? At the time of Bill Cosby's misconducts, he was a superstar. He was a famous comedian, and he had his own TV show. Plus, Bill Cosby had multiple women accusing him of doing pretty much the same thing to all of them, drugging them up and having his way with them. While Kavanaugh has one accuser, Blasey Ford. Besides, the holes in her story are so numerous. The where and the when are still in question. Other pertinent facts, like how did you get home and why didn't you tell somebody immediately after it happened, need to be scrutinized. She keeps stalling and has missed 5 deadlines already. Does that sound like somebody who is sure and certain of the experience that they claim to have lived through? Plus, she doesn't want to fly to DC. She says, yeah, I'll testify, but no, I can't fly. I'm going to drive. Because she has, she has PTSD or something and she doesn't want to fly. But apparently, she flew to Hawaii to finish off her psych doctorate. But who cares about facts? She agrees to a hearing, but makes demands. That's not an agreement to a hearing. If you agree and then you say, well, I want this and this and this, that means you're stalling and for time and you're trying to pretty much paint a narrative that has yet to be painted. You're trying to push it into a direction. Plus, her demands are absolutely like lunatic. Like, these are crazy demands. She wants Kavanaugh to not be in the room when she testifies, so he can't actually hear firsthand her accusations and rebuke them. But before even that, she says that she wants him to go first as the defendant. How does that make any sense? That's not how it works. What is a defendant supposed to do without the exact accusation? Sit there and twiddle his thumbs for 5 minutes and say, I don't know what happened. Like, I completely deny anything that happened. How can he defend himself when he doesn't have the facts presented to him so he can defend himself? You need to the accuser brings the evidence and the defendant defends themselves. That's why the accuser is the accuser and the defendant is the defendant. It's a circular argument here. She keeps delaying, and the Republicans have failed to hold to their deadlines, just like Obama's red lines in the sand. It's pretty reminiscent of Obama. I guess he must have rubbed off on the Republicans more than we think. But the committee can't just nod and agree to her statements. They need to push back and really challenge her on her accusation. But doing that plays into the morality trap that the Dems have set for the Republicans. Because the Democrats know that the Republicans actually have principles. They have a sense of morality, which they themselves don't. So they're going to use that to their advantage. The reason why the Democrats know this is because the Republicans will undoubtedly receive backlash about scrutinizing a victim. They will shoot themselves in the foot over this and not realize the harm they have caused themselves and the party regarding the midterms, which are just over a month away. If they keep, doing this, if they keep appeasing this woman, they won't stop, because appeasement leaves your opponent wanting more because they know they can get more from you. The Republicans need to stand firm and stop this charade and confirm Kavanaugh now. Stop letting the Democrats take advantage of your morality because they don't have, like I said, any of their own. I mean, look at Keith Ellison. There's actually credible, evidence, in the form of 911 calls and medical records that show that he abused his girlfriends. He beat them. But where are the Democrats? Silent. Where are the Republicans on this? Silent. I wonder why. At this point, Kavanaugh won't be confirmed by October 1st, which means he can't be seated until the next SCOTUS cycle, which will be after the midterms. How convenient for the Democrats. But only on the condition that they win in November, which is what they're holding out for. Why else would Senator Feinstein sit on the accusation letter for 2 months? And in my opinion, probably to get everything in order to move forward with this railroading of Kavanaugh. Either way, the entire process has been tainted, so by default the Dems win. But only if, like I said, only if they win in November. Which is why it's crucial to get out and vote. This is crucial to remove the Democrats who are pretty much wearing their socialist mentality on their sleeve for everybody to see. And it's time to remove the spineless Republicans who are just sitting there and letting this wash over them. If we don't stand firm and vote our conscience, then the country is going to be slipping away into a hellhole. It will become a hellhole. If the Democrats win, the next 2 years will be utter turmoil. So, I know it's a little bit different. I scripted it, but I hope you guys can actually take something from this and maybe give us that oomph that we need, that drive that we need to actually win and push through and get Kavanaugh confirmed and get the Democrats off our backs by voting them out, keeping the House and keeping the Senate. Because if they take the House, they'll impeach Trump. If they take the Senate, they will stall and end these confirmation hearings and then tell Trump, oh, too bad, so sad, you need to get another Supreme Court nominee. Why not Merrick Garland? See how that works? Anyway, I know this is a little bit different, but I hope you guys liked it. Anyway, this is a swamp cleaner, and I'll see you guys later.